Hey guys, it's Alexander the Gamer here, and today I'm bringing you something a little different. A few days ago I found out when trying to play my Ostrogoth campaign that I was no good at playing as a Horde faction. I still have to work on when to settle, how much money you need, blah 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 blah. I messed up on that and I ran myself into a rut that I couldn't get out of. So I'm going to play some Total War Rome 2. For those of you that don't know, this is the previous game to Total War Attila. It is also a later game in the series. It is fun, I loved it. But I don't like the base game so much. I don't know, I can't really say exactly what it is, but I play with the Divide et Impera mod pack installed. And I also have a ton of other sub-mods on. I'll have a list of all the mods and stuff I'm running, but they're all from this Divide et Impera mod. In my personal campaign, I'm playing as the Canterbury, sorry. So I'm not going to play as the Iberians. Well, this is actually me explaining what I'm choosing and why I'm not choosing it. It also has all the factions unlocked. Normally it doesn't have all of these. All the ones that look like this, so this one, and 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 this one. They're all not in it, and most of these factions inside the ones that are in it aren't playable. Most of the factions have very few actual units, and I kind of like having lots of variety to choose from. And due to the fact that I'm playing a lot of barbarian factions, and I like having a guaranteed like a military building chain. So I was planning on playing as a Greek, Eastern, Carthaginian, or Rome. I'm not very good at Carthage because I'm the player, and Carthage has a much harder time as the player, just simply because how the buffs and stuff work. Because I'm the player, the economy and the amount of armies and the amount of people that declare war on you makes it a lot harder because you're a separated land, and it's very hard to connect them because you can't connect these provinces in here because these are all either allied defensively to you or a client state. Sure, you could go to war and take this land, but that'd take you away from the war against Syracuse and Rome, or against the Iberian tribes or the Celtic tribes. Though there's this one faction I was thinking of trying, the Massilia tribe. Here they're pretty good looking, and they're just this one Greek tribe in the middle of the Celts, near Rome. So you got the Celts, the Alpine tribes, you got the Italian Celts, you got the Celtic or the French Celts, got the Iberians, Romans, and Germans, and Alpine, which are kind of like a mix of Celtic and Germanic tribes. All of them, they have like the they have the short swords of the Italian tribes, and then they have like the spears and swords and axes of the northern tribes. So they're really good. But I was thinking of just playing as Rome. I've never actually completed a full Roman campaign because I like expand a chunk and I'll be like, oh, so easy and stuff. But I'm thinking that recording this will let me keep going longer because I'll have like persuasion to keep doing it, right? So we're going to be playing as them, and I'm just going to go over their traits. So we have the faction trait, or the culture traits, because each of these are a different culture group. You got the Romans, or the Latin culture group, which is their culture traits. You got the Carthaginians, which are kind of like a Greek African faction. You got the Dacians, Thracians, and Illyrians. I wish there was like a world map you could just mess around, but apparently apparently, but it's kind of this area here, Dacia. It's also Dacia, southern Samartia, and like northern Greece is what I'm getting at. I got the French Celts. You got the successor kingdoms, so pretty much all the kingdoms that Alexander the Great's empire broke up into. You have the obvious, the Macedonians, which are one of the weaker ones, but they have really powerful pike units in the late game, which is really good for pushing through the eastern hordes. Very solid position, very easy, I find. Then you have Ptolemy, which is the Egyptians. Very safe position. And these lands are pretty much guaranteed to you, and your only rivals, the Seleucids and their satrapies, but they usually implode. Which means you can probably claim a lot of this land around you very easily. And then you have the Seleucids, which are this guy here. And they also have satrapies all throughout here. Before a few patches ago, this chunk here was a satrapy, and I found it so powerful. Because usually, the Seleucids have 3 satrapies that stay with them. One out here, in Asia, one here, and sometimes one out here. Pretty much this one here was a 3-city, or 3-region place, and it would just hold all the warring eastern tribes at bay. And you could just expand, gain your power here, and take Arabia and such on. But now the only true tribes, or not tribes, but the factions, the Bactrians, which are this kind of like Indo-Greek faction, really cool, I like them. And the Epirites, which are one of the more powerful Greek nations, Greek city-states. Much earlier on, the Epirate king had invaded southern Italy, and such on and so forth, and then they got pushed back, then they fought Spartans, and then Athens and Macedon attacked them and beat them up. So that's cool. You got these Arabian tribes. They're interesting. I played a nation as Saba, or campaign as Saba. It was something like 200 turns in. I owned all of Egypt, all of non-Carthaginian North Africa. I was eating into the Seleucids. I owned all of Arabia, all Ethiopia. I was eating into the Middle Eastern areas. And then it just corrupted, which sucked. Then you have the normal Greek states. You have Rhodes, Sardis, which is a satrapy of the Seleucids. You got Sparta, Athens, Cyprus, a satrapy of Egypt, Knossos, and Tryperios. This is pretty much Crete. African nations, mostly pretty weak and pretty boring campaigns because you can't do too much with them. I don't know why it says it's hard, because they're a satrapy of Carthage and nobody attacks them. Iberians, pretty straightforward. Spain, Portugal, and stuff. You got the nomadic tribes out in Samartia and Scythia and Ponto-Caspia. Eastern nations, so this is the Middle East. Armenia, the Caucasus, up here, out here, all that. Got the British tribes. The Keltoi. These are, well, the Alpine tribes, the Italian tribes, I think. Yeah, the Alpine tribes, the Italian tribes, and some of the more obscure tribes. The Germans, which are pretty obvious Germans, Denmark, that kind of stuff. And then you have this guy. So yeah, I'm going to play as Rome. I'm going to play on hard difficulty. I'm going to go over their cultural traits. They have Roman legions, +1 recruitment slot in all your provinces. So pretty much how it works is, I think the base is 2 units per turn that can be recruited in a region. So now the base is 3, and if you have a military building, it's generally 4, which is really good. Which means you only need 5 turns to raise a whole army instead of, like, what, 6 or 7? Bread and circuses. There's +1 food in all your provinces, which is good. Unlike in Attila, where 1 food is not that great in this, having 10 extra food is really good. Instead of buildings producing 40, 50, 60, 100 food, they produce 2, 4, 6, 10 food. So it's much better. And then you have the three houses, three main houses. The Julia, well, pretty much the story behind these houses is they're the three most powerful families in Rome at the time. And also Rome, in approximately this time, was divided into four sections: the Julii, the Junii, the Cornella. You also see the Cornella called the Scipii. No, sorry. You'll see these guys called like the Brutii, and these guys will be called like the Scipii. And these are the Julii. The Julii pretty much controlled northern Rome, from the northern part, like from the border here to Rome itself. And their job was pretty much to expand and keep the barbarians to the north in check. The Scipii, which held this southern boot here, and Sicily and this part of Sardinia, or is that Corsica? I think that's Sardinia and that's Corsica. I might have it backwards though. And their job was to fight the Carthaginians and then later keep the African tribes in check. And the Cornelia, or the Brutii, held this part of Rome, and their job was to fight and keep the Greeks and Illyrians in check. So pretty much it was three different groups dealing with three different problems. And then there was Rome. I find that culture is such a harsh penalty in this game. So I find the cultural conversion can pretty much offset this pretty quickly, but at first this is really bad, but this can offset it. And the barbarian subjugators plus 10 morale during battles against barbarian tribes. So this is pretty much you focused on going north and west and east. This Founding Fathers, public order, so it's up to a +4 bonus from Latin culture, which can be okay. It's not so effective in new regions because it might be like +1 or +0. They have agricultural wealth plus 10%. That's pretty decent. But a moderate diplomatic penalty with all factions. That's not so good. The House of Cornella is up to a -4, or a minimum of -4 from presence of Latin culture. So you'll get minuses for having Latin culture and for having other cultures. But they get a moderate boost with cultural affinity with Greeks, which is not that great. And administrative plus 3% tax rate, which is okay. I'm going to choose one of these two. We won't need many allies. Most of our allies will either be most nations will either be subject states or conquered. The 10% morale would be really good, but I think I'm going to go with this. Yep. So hard, the Junia, and let's make sure everything good. Advisor help none. Limited, 40. Just be. No. Because Divide and Power, one of the main things it does is it elongates battle time. So, yeah. Have announced or released 3 Celtic factions. Simplify it for the AI, right? So that's kind of silly. Like, that's normally not supposed to be for the player. It's not making, like, there's what, 4 DLC for Rome 2? Other than that, I only don't have 4. There's 6 in it. That's not important. Furthermore, another one, nomadic tribes. You're not allowed to play as the nomads. None whatsoever. I'm lucky I got the Greek one because I pre-ordered the game and I got it for free. And the nomad tribes one I got because I found it was on sale, free for a weekend, which was awesome. I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. Other ones, it allowed you to play as the RDI, the Thracians and the Dacians, one faction from each, and expanded their unit rosters. A Black Seas one, which was supposed to be free, which unlocked Massalia. I'm having a bunch of lag right now, which is no good. It's probably because I'm trying to record. It also unlocked pretty much a Crimean nation, which owns this. And there's a couple others, I can't remember which ones it unlocked, and it added some new units to them, but it's Syracuse, probably. Well, now I can't think of any others. Jeez. Well, that's embarrassing, but pretty much the DLC policy is poor, and just don't do it. Okay, now we're getting into the game. So this is the politics tab. Well, that's the politics tab, but this is the main tab you're going to be working from. You have the 4 houses of Rome, you have the Junia, Cornelia, and Julia, and the other houses. Each of the main houses start with a general, well, an admiral in my case. And you start with these 2 guys in the other houses. Quintus, Fabius, Maximus, and Lucius Paprius Corsar. And you have Lucius Julius Libo, Gnaeus Cornelius Scipio, Asina. I'm pretty sure this guy's like, this guy's the guy that was known as Scipio Africanus. And you got Decimus Junius Brutus. Okay, apparently I got it wrong. The Junia were the Brutii, and the Cornella were the Scipii. Okay. That's no good. Okay. So pretty much how this breaks it down, makes things more expensive, less income, rework some text. You have unit upgrades, which is really important because it's timed events throughout the campaign where you'll upgrade. Because right now we're in the chameleon age, where it's all spear-armed units, where mercenaries and auxiliaries are really powerful. Picking up some Italic mercenary swordsmen, really good. Even picking up some Etruscan mercenaries might be good, even though they're super duper expensive. But the sword infantry just be so good. Skirmishers are weak, but eventually you'll get to the point where the Polybolian reforms come in, and you get your proper Hastati and your proper Principes and Triarii. And then you'll get your Marian reforms, which get your legionaries, your early legionaries and stuff. Oh yeah, also did I say that the... Huh. This is kind of weird. The unit size thing is kind of messed up. I don't know what's going on. Because they're supposed to be bigger. Alright. Let's see the mercenaries. I hope something's not broken and I have to like redo all this. I think everything is fine. I don't know. Kind of worried now. We'll see though. We'll just keep going on if we find something wrong. Whatever. First off, public order in Italy. Good. In Magna Graecia. Not so good. We'll move this army into Constantia. And that didn't fix the problem. Latin's going down. That's no good. Because we don't have a temple. So we use one of our population here to build a consecrated ground. Come north here and we will build... What will we build? How about we build, that, we get a farm, and that's it for this turn. We'll move our fleet down in Neapolis. So first things first, you want to fix up your economy. Economy. Who do we want our main general to be? This guy's younger. This guy's the youngest, though. Actually, that guy is. Not this guy. This is who? This is Fabius, yeah. So we want to give the army to him. Because he's younger. Granted, he's of the other family, but whatever. We'll grant him the army and we'll march this guy back to, that's kind of weird. We can't recruit Principes as a right. I don't know why these guys cost so much. The levies. It's because these guys are smaller? It can't be. I just want to check something. Game options. Graphics. Advanced options. How the inside is on Ultra. Just click it again to make. Just to make sure. Switch to large. And accept. Accept. I don't know. That's really weird that those guys cost more. I don't know what's going on. Are they like actually bigger? Because I mean, like, these guys are 200 men, these guys are 200 men. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to tell you guys. Get a military tech first. Oh yeah, edicts to your entire controlled provinces. More edicts too, that's another thing. Breaded Games now costs food, so you need positive food to enact it, but it gives you growth and public order. We'll just take tax rate for now. So I'm thinking I might just cut this episode short. And, see if something is actually wrong. War declared, Athens and Epirus. So pretty much the entire plan is like to come here and take Genoa, because the tribes have so little money that they can't expand really at all and don't have very many men in the beginning. So come here, take Genoa, and either, if I can, take Mediolanum, but I'll probably have to take Patvium and do a long siege of Mediolanum. But that's the plan. I'm going to pick up some manipular barracks. Here in Rome, when I get the tech to do it. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll take more olives and stuff. I forgot to do the diplomacy. Jeez, okay, so as you can see, most people don't like us. Cultural version. Yeah, Carthage really hates me. We're trading with Syracuse. How about we get a non-aggression pact? No? Okay. Carthage won't want to trade. Athens might.
I am honored to receive this embassy.
Cool. Non-aggression pact? Nope. The diplomacy AI doesn't seem to do very well in these games. I'm really worried now that I just wasted like half an hour recording. More food or more wealth? I'll go with a farm for now. Quicker growth. But right now all my economy's been focused up there, except for building this consecrated ground, of course. But that's been it. Yeah, I'm there's no agents to be recruited, which is unfortunate. Mercenary horsemen to recruit. They'll be super expensive to maintain. Yet 474, but it's really the sword that you pay for. That's what you really want. That's what you're there for. The Ligurii are building bigger than I thought they could. I'm surprised they can build short swordsmen. What makes them build short swordsmen? I guess it's just something they can build from the beginning. That's kind of weird. Of course, all these are new too, which is really nice. Gladio. I don't know how they're affording all this. Like, they must have some pretty sick trade income. But I guess their units are super cheap. And also dynamic effects. I find civil settlements are really good. If you have a heavy agriculture, well, it's 2% from all sources, or 3% from agriculture, or 3% from commerce. They each give you 1 army recruitment capacity and 2 growth. This one gives you the biggest garrison. They all give you the same recruitables, and this one gives you public order. So I'll take that. There's also a bigger capital city builder chain they can do, but of course with the mods I don't know if the encyclopedia is going to exactly work. So I'm going to call it quits here, and I'm just going to look around and fill around to see if anything's actually wrong, and I'll be back.